Did you know that America was discovered not by Christopher Columbus in 1492, but several thousand years earlier when the Indians penetrated it, and the Indians come from southern Siberia? This happened more than 10,000 years ago and more. There's also a version that the Indians and some peoples of Siberia are closely related, which is confirmed by genetic studies. And on some maps, northeast Siberia is called India Superior, prehistoric India, and the lands to the south are also designated as India. And there are many names with the insertion Indi all over the world. So we can say with confidence that the ancient Indi lived in Siberia and then reached America. I believe that this happened not 10 to 11,000 years ago, but even earlier. But the settlement of Indians in America definitely began from the north, and they hardly sailed there in their canoes, but walked because in those distant times there was still a land bridge between the two continents, which today researchers call Beringia. Where the Bering Strait is today, 10 to 11,000 years ago, there was still a large land bridge connecting Kamchatka and Chukotka with Alaska. Of course, it is difficult to call this isthmus a bridge in the literal sense, since it was not narrow, but nevertheless it was a connecting part between Eurasia and America. The sea level gradually rose, and this is how this bridge ended up underwater. Swedish scientist Eric Holton coined the term Beringia in 1937 to describe this ancient land bridge that connected North America and Eurasia. Studies of the bottom sediments of the Bering Strait and adjacent territories have shown that over the past 3 million years, Beringia has repeatedly sunk and risen to the surface at least 6 times. So the processes that occur on our globe are cyclical. Each time the continents merged, animals, and most recently humans, migrated freely between Eurasia and North America. This had a profound effect on biodiversity and evolution in both hemispheres. The last land bridge of Beringia existed from approximately the 28th to the 9th millennium BC. Fluctuations in the level of the world ocean caused by climate change and tectonic movements periodically exposed and concealed this vast area of the continental shelf. Scientific research shows that during the last glacial maximum, which occurred several thousand years after the Bering land bridge between Eurasia and North America formed, 2 giant ice sheets, the Laurentide and the Cordilleran, merged in Alaska. As a result, a powerful ice barrier formed, which became an insurmountable obstacle to the migration of flora and fauna between the continents. Only about 14,000 years ago, the ice sheet disappeared, but Beringia was soon flooded by the strait. However, there was enough time for animals and people to repeatedly cross from one continent to the other. Recent genetic studies have established that all Native American peoples have a common origin. Their ancestors arrived from southern Siberia in numbers of no more than 5,000 people. This happened more than 11,000 years ago when they crossed the Bering Isthmus, which connected Asia and America. According to some estimates, there were only 70 of them at first, but there were several migrations, and some of them, the Eskimos and Aleuts, settled on the Arctic coast of North America. By the way, there's an opinion that the Eskimos and Aleuts are not closely related to the Indians. All these peoples who came to the American continent originate from one ancient people who once inhabited the southern part of Siberia and then migrated to the northern territories. Indi is a Paleo-Indian culture that settled on the American continent at the end of the Ice Age. The reason for the migration was hunting. The Indi were looking for places to hunt, and they were looking for places to hunt. Rich in game, animals migrated and people moved after them. Stone tools such as spears and scrapers have been found during archaeological research. These artifacts help scientists better understand the culture and history of ancient Paleo-Indian tribes. The Crimean Bridge is 19 kilometers long. It connects Russia with Crimea. It is considered to be one of the largest bridges in the world, but it is much smaller than the largest bridge in China. Few people know that the distance between Russia and America is only 4 kilometers. However, this is not a distance between continents, but between 2 islands, one of which belongs to Russia and the other to America. In our time, engineers can build such large bridges as the Danyang-Kunshan Viaduct, which is the longest bridge in the world, built in China with a length of 164.8 kilometers. Connecting 2 continents with a bridge is not a problem technologically. True, the width of the strait between Russia and America is about 85 kilometers, but in our time it is possible to build a bridge. However, there is no such bridge yet. Apparently, friendship between our countries is still needed for this. The average depth of the Bering Strait is 30 to 50 meters. There is also an idea to build a tunnel under the Bering Strait. It is a good idea, but very expensive. expensive, but I think it would be great to have such a road. That way America is not an ocean away from us. The emergence of a land bridge between Eurasia and America has already happened several times, and this process may happen again someday. True, it will take more than 1 millennium. By that time, the climate and nature of these places will change. The flora and fauna will change. Whether people will live on Earth by that time is a big question, but let's hope so. Thanks to the existence of Beringia in the past, the ancient Paleolithic cultures of South Siberia were able to move to North America and settle there, gradually reaching even the southern shores of South America. So I think that the discoverers of the Americas were the Indians, not the Spaniards. The Spaniards came there when the Indians had already lived there for thousands of years, and the Indians resisted the Europeans as much as they could, defending their territories. However, the Europeans turned out to be stronger and became the new American inhabitants. It seems to me that even today they look at the world from the position of who is stronger, although they say something completely different. But that's another story.